please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Hello everyone, welcome back to Omegon 2 Electric Boogaloo. Today we're going to be responding to 3 videos, all covering the same topic of narcissism. So yes, gender, because 3 different people basically say the same thing, but because they're all such, well, talented poets, they have to say it in such a way that it makes them seem like they're all completely different people, and not a part of some collective derived from some sci-fi show that no one's ever heard of, called Star Trek. Personally, I think they all sound like colossal smegheads, but you need to see the videos to believe that to be the case, and perhaps also believe that older forms of parenting were required to stop this kind of behaviour early on.
I find it quite funny when cis people see me and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry if this offends you, but like, I just can't tell if you're a boy or a girl.
I have no doubt in my mind that the number of people that ever say that to you is equal to minus 273.15 degrees, also known as absolute zero, because I don't believe you have a social life, because I believe if anyone looks at you they think, okay, that's a dude. Not because you look too masculine, but because of the facial hair. Now, of course, society has changed and there are women with beards now. It's nice to see that circus acts of old have become more mainstream. I will stand by what I just said though. I do not believe anyone has ever said it to you, because a lot of you totally unique individual types have no social life, because you have no friends, because your rampant narcissism keeps you shut in.
Like, no, baby, that doesn't offend me.
Well, I'm glad that it doesn't when people inquire about something they've never asked you before. The last thing we need on this channel is another person getting easily triggered because they find someone misgendering or making an assumption or being confused offending you. But then there's an overarching point we're going to get to soon about why you're not offended and how that ties into future videos as well.
That's by design. It's not offensive, it's on purpose.
This would be why you don't have any friends, and why many take great umbrage still to this day with people who choose their gender by rolling a magic 8-ball until it cracks or gives them an answer they feel is appropriate for the mood they've woken up with. The level of confusion you by design choose, as opposed to others who simply wake up and choose confusion, is astonishing. But it's the individuality, the desperation to be unique from others. Allow me to remove that confusion by informing you, because I doubt you've ever heard it before, humanity is remarkably similar. They really are. There are billions of you buggers. You, the individual, will look like someone else. In fact, you'll find that the person that looks like you is more than likely more normal by the standard of the culture they reside within than you are within the culture you reside in. And the culture you reside in is the freeloader one, because I'd put money on you not having a sodding job.
I dress and express myself with a specific intent of confusing cis people.
Now, for that to be applicable, you would have to know if someone is cis or not. If you are profiling somebody, that's genderist. And I've just made this word up. It's like racist, but you've assumed gender. You've profiled someone based on how they look. That's a bad word. You should be ashamed of yourself. The G word, as it were now. I've coined it, it's mine. Thus is written, thus is law, trademark, patent pending, and all the other nonsense, copyright and all, and that. Now, before we finish your video and move to the next one, I should just query, how sad, lonely, empty is your life that the only thing you can be bothered to do with your life is to go out of your way to confuse those that you believe are cisgender? What purpose does it serve? If that is how you get your euphoric release, you might want to consider a smack to the back of the head. Or, and this one's trickier, but you could do it, ditching the nonsense. Being cis or being trans, if you have gender dysphoria, that is, as opposed to simply saying I'm this gender and moving on with your life, and then going out, getting a real job, making actual friends and learning to be a part of society, a contributing member to a community, as opposed to a community of people who don't even know each other, yet happily espouse nonsense about themselves online. Because uniqueness.
And it works, and it feeds my ego, and it gives me gender euphoria. Thank you, have a nice day.
Gender euphoria. This thing has a term? Oh my god, you're so tragic. You must have the most pathetic of existences while receiving your weekly stipend from your parents, who are so busy doing anything else they couldn't be bothered to prevent you from this, which they could have done. Of course, it could be a damning statement of the education system where you are in the world. I can take a guess. I'm sure I'll be right. Ultimately, though, the onus is on you, and the fact that you want gender euphoria. Slaanesh must be so proud. On to video number 2, which further leans into this with another individual who, yes, is also doing the whole gender euphoria thing.
I grew this so I wouldn't be perceived as a woman.
Oh dear God, you are another one. Okay. I should let this video play from start to finish. It's quite short, so you can get the full context before I offer any points of criticism, because there are many, and you're going to get all of them.
I grew this so I wouldn't be perceived as a woman. And I grew these so I wouldn't be perceived as a man. And if that confuses or upsets you, mission complete. But if it doesn't, mission accomplished.
So you grew the beard, so manly. Okay, you grew the man tits, because feminine. You put on the makeup and the outfit to add equal levels of confusion for the whole, what are you? Along with, who are you? I assume in the future, when are you, where are you, and why are you will feature as well, although why could be the overarching umbrella question. Why? But then, gender euphoria. Okay. You've got dysmorphia for body, dysphoria for gender, and now we have euphoria. Wouldn't ecstasy be easier, cheaper, more affordable? Just make sure it's not cut with soap. That's a public service announcement. You're welcome for the health advice. Sarcasm aside, I do not understand the reason for wanting to go out of your way to create a victim complex, or the desperate need for validation. Have you been watching too many kids' TV shows where that's all I seem to see these days? It's kind of tragic, I won't lie. The level of narcissism involved here is, well, actually quite tragic. I've said that before. It's just tragic. Your whole life is tragic. I'm guessing you also don't have any friends, and your parents more than likely disavow you. On to video number 3.
Since discovering my gender expression and how fluid it is, I've come to a realization that if you want to date me, you have to be okay with the fact that you might wake up to a little boyfriend, a little androgynous partner, or a little femme girlfriend.
I was always led to believe that usually for the man, when they wake up in the morning, they have to be very careful. They have to tiptoe around the house, make sure not to wake up the demon, because honestly, stereotypes exist and they're mostly correct. The same cannot be said the other way round. No, that's stomp, stamp, get the up, and everyone must know you must slam the doors. No one's allowed to rest when the lady is awake. So really, when you say you might wake up and be a little boyfriend and all the other things that are prerequisites that the partner you personally choose to date must accept, are really just differing moods for you, because, I'll be honest, the only one that everyone is familiar with is angry. And I know, the inner misogynist in Meg came out. Stereotypes exist for a reason. If you're offended by the fact that you wake up grumpy, sounds to me like I hit the right nerve.
You might have a boyfriend one day and a girlfriend the next day, depending on how I'm feeling in my gender expression.
I think if you're putting out an ad for dating, you're going about this the wrong way. If you want to put out an ad for dating, you might want to showcase your better qualities. This will not be one of them. This is the indecisive, picky quality that many men find repulsive. Unless, of course, you're not trying to date cis men. Manly men. The real manliest of manly men's like Steven Regal.
And I love that about me. I love that I'm not being put in a box anymore.
I'm glad no one's putting you in a box anymore, and I have no doubt no one's putting it in your box anymore, because they can't be sure if it's safe to. Last thing they need is you getting gender euphoria when, well, at the most intimate and wrong of times. Instead of who's your daddy, it's who's your boyfriend.
I mean, I think I'm the only one that put myself in boxes, but I'm glad I'm taking myself out of the box and allowing myself to be more fluid with my gender expression.
This is that whole thing about trying desperately to be unique and individual. Emos did it in 2006. Hipsters did it in 2010. To be honest, it's a very human trait to want to stand out and be different to others, but you are all absolutely 100% identical. Because there's one title you can all accept as a gift from the rest of humanity. It's the title of loser. Because you have to be so narcissistic and enabled so much that you allow your delusions of talking to your imaginary friends, and of course the delusions of grandeur, to manifest in your life in such a way that you basically exist for Euphoria alone, of the gender variety. I don't suppose you've bought cats, have you? I have a strange feeling you're going to need some in your future.
Previously in the past, I would date people that loved being with a mask, okay? They were like, I only want to be with a mask. I am femme for mask, 100%. You cannot be anything else. And they loved that about me. They loved that I was androgynous, more masculine. They loved that I would wear chest binders and that half the time I would be perceived as a boy. I literally dated people who were like, oh my god, you just got called sir. I love that.
Oh, so you were their token then. It's nice to see that the emotional connection more than likely stemmed from emotional damage, but trivialized your existence so they could basically get off on a kink. That's pretty much it at that point. In the context of you, that's what it is. Although I'm somewhat skeptical you've managed to date anyone. To be honest, I don't think any of you guys know what dating actually is. I'm more inclined to believe your version of a date involves you sat around a table with some plastic sippy cups, eating Play-Doh sandwiches.
What do you mean you love that? Because I didn't love that. I didn't love that. I'm non-binary. I don't like being called ma'am or sir, okay? I didn't love that. Why do you love it? And I hated that, okay? It was terrible.
Oh, it's not that you're non-binary, although you can be that, I genuinely don't care. It's less that. It's that you suffer with another condition. It's called absolute contrarianism, because you have to go counter to anything positive so the black pill in you can manifest and bring out the real nihilist narcissist. Everything's about me and my validation unless others confirm it, and then I have to change that to be something else. Because I only want that quick, immediate release euphoria. Anything long-term has to be removed. You are such a sad smeghead, and you know it.
So if you want to date me, you have to be okay with the fact that some days you'll have a boyfriend, some days you'll have a girlfriend, and some days you'll have a little androgynous partner, okay? That is what I need. That is what I want, because that is who I am.
That is what you need. That is what you want. Therefore, you need to get used to the idea it is unlikely to ever happen. Because it turns out if you're after a man, a cis man especially, many of them, majority of them, aren't going to be interested in that. You need to widen your net a little, I guess. Then again, if you're putting out an ad on TikTok, chances are you've exhausted local options or slept your way through them. Not my place to judge, just stating a fact. Or a belief. Let's go with belief. I don't want to be accused of slut-shaming an indecisive individual that's yet to make their mind up on who they really are. Although, apparently they have made up their mind who they are. They're multiple different people, apparently. That's interesting. You could just tell everyone you are the complete contrarian package. Your Tinder and or Grindr and all other apps that you use for dating profiles will undoubtedly be all over the place. Grats.